Om Jnanatimirandasya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svam Rupkadam Yam Dadati Svam Padantikam Vandeham Shri Shri Yuda Padakamanam Shri Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Jagajatam Saganaragantam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savaduttam Pajana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sangalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Sa Hey Krishna Karuna Sinudina Bandha Jyatpate Gopisha Kupra Kanta Randa Namaste Tapta Kanshana Kavanti Radhe Pindavan Shri Vishabham Sutadevi Pranamahri Bhaka Kalpa Vishak Vipasan Vipshak Padmanta Bambio Vaishnavyo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasanti Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Krishna Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutto Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Svacharini Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Paskachai Desatarni Hare Krishna.
Bhakti Prabhu Maharaj ki jai.
The blessings of Bhakti Charamach and Srila Prabhupada will try to say something about the glories of Lord Jagannatha and Lord Jagannath's teachings. Lord Jagannath teaches us by feelings of separation. Lord Jagannatha is feeling separation from Vrindavan. That and during the Ratha Yatra festival, when Lord Chaitanya was with us, then Lord Chaitanya was dancing before Lord Jagannath. Lord Chaitanya was feeling, Lord Chaitanya is, which Lord Chaitanya? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayana. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani, feeling separation from Radharani. So Krishna, in the form of Lord Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, is feeling separation from his Radharani, feeling separation from Krishna. And Jagannath is Krishna feeling separation from Vrindavan. That why did Lord Chaitanya exhibit his greatest form of loving separation from Krishna? That
Can use this.
okay. Yeah. Lord Chaitanya, he felt at his feelings of separation in the mood of Srimati Radharani, but when Krishna left Vrindavan, all the residents of Vrindavan had feelings of separation from Krishna. And Krishna knew that after after Krishna is taken away by Akura to Mathura, all the residents of Vrindavan became plunged in feelings of separation from Krishna. But Krishna promised, I will come back. But he could not come back because he was in Mathura, and every moment kings like Jarasandha and others could attack Mathura. So he could not leave. But he sent Uddhav, his most dear devotee, to go to Vrindavan. That when the evening, because Uddhav, he arrived in Vrindavan in the evening, and he felt, first he saw a joyful Vrindavan. Everywhere, bells ringing, joyful residents of Vrindavan, that cows milking, that he found a very joyful Vrindavan. It is said, our Acharya says, this when Uddhav arrived to Krishna, Uddhav saw the uppercut lila of Krishna. So to feel this, to understand these feelings of separation, one must know what's uppercut lila, prakat lila, that the uppercut lila is not manifested to the eyes of the people in this world, but that's the lila of Goloka Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world. That the prakat lila is here in Bhumi Vrindavan, but this is a little technical, but yes, maybe. Our process of devotional service has 9 stages. From Shraddha to Prema, Rupa Goswami. Yeah. Although Shraddha first, we have some faith in Krishna by hearing maybe from devotees, and then we come in contact with devotees. Sadhu Sangha, we start to associate with devotees. And what do we learn from the devotees? Bhajana Kriya, how to perform devotional service. So the devotees teach us how to chant, how to worship the deity, and that how to hear every day from Krishna, how to cook for Krishna. We become trained. And in the beginning, we are unstudied, not process, anishtita bhajana kriya. But at a certain moment, we become steady. We have a morning practice, an evening practice, and we work maybe during the day for Krishna. And when it becomes steady, and then gradually, when our mentality changes, when we adopt the mentality of a servant of Krishna, we understand that's our real identity, and we chant the holy name, we become purified. So when we chant the holy name, then Sometimes we remember Krishna, sometimes we don't. That at least I have that problem. Sometimes I chant and I don't remember Krishna. You have also that problem, or I'm alone with that?
Yes.
Okay. But in relation to the chanting of the holy name, if we chant the holy name of Krishna, first, that's described by Srila Prabhupada, this process, in Nectar of Instruction, text 8. Text 8, Rupa Goswami advises us to chant 24 hours a day, 20 hours a day, the nectarian names of Krishna. So this nectarian names of Krishna, always. But in the beginning, we must accept that. It's Varna, Varna Dasa. One must accept. When one accepts the process and starts to chant, then one starts to remember Krishna, but that doesn't happen immediately. You chant Hare Krishna, and in the beginning it's difficult. Sometimes we chant Hare Krishna, and while chanting Hare Krishna, we make our shopping list. Or we ponder on the problems that we have to solve. This person did that to me. So it's difficult. So sometimes you don't remember Krishna, sometimes you remember Krishna. But if you make progress in the chanting, how do I know I make progress? Well, you will remember more Krishna more probably if you make progress. But before that, before remembering Krishna more, we get taste. And by the taste, we remember Krishna more. We try doing the chanting. And finally, we are able to make a little hole in our material consciousness and go to it, go to the hole and be with Radha and Krishna in our chanting. But it takes a while. But Prabhupada said, in the beginning, sometimes we remember, sometimes not. But if we make progress, the time that we remember Krishna should become longer. And the time that we forget Krishna is shorter. And then when you make further progress, then you at a certain moment you will remember Krishna constantly. And that's liberation. Then your heart is pure. Okay, that may take 40, 50 years, that's okay. It's a slow process of devotional service. But once you come to that point of always remembering Krishna, you don't take birth again. But to come to that point, we must hear a lot about Krishna. If you hear about Krishna, you will remember Krishna. Can you love a person that you don't know? No, you have to hear about him. Hear the Bhagavatam, reading Krishna book every evening, good practice. But then to come to that point of always remembering Krishna, we must perform sadhana, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Follow the instructions of the spiritual master. That's very important, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. So we must do our part, and Krishna will do his part. But once you come to the point of always remembering Krishna, you are liberated. And then what happens after that is just Krishna's mercy. Then Krishna reveals us what kind of servant we are. Then we get ruchi, attraction to Krishna. And we become so attracted to Krishna that we start to feel great separation from Krishna. And that makes our strive to love Krishna more intense. And then at a certain moment, and Prabhupada writes about that, then Krishna will reveal himself to you in the heart. In the heart. So in the heart, that's also mentioned in the Bhagavatam from Bhakti Yoga Parivata Richaroya. That's 3:9:11 also. That it's said that by performing devotional service, by hearing about Krishna, enters our ear. And gradually our heart becomes purified. I mean, when our heart becomes purified, Krishna is going to appear on the seat of our heart in the form we feel attracted to. We know the goal of yoga is the goal of yoga is Chitatmana Prasantatma, Paramatma Samahita. So you have to conquer the mind, and then you come in contact with the super soul. The yogis get the super soul in their heart when they get perfection. It's an expansion of a Vishnu expansion with 4 arms. But for the devotee, it is who is attracted to Krishna. Krishna appears in the heart as Krishna, 2 arms. The Ishtadev, to the form the devotee is attracted to. So the first thing that appears after liberation and we become attracted, Krishna appears in your heart. But it's gradual. Prabhupada said first, Krishna's forms appears to you. Krishna's forms appears, and then after that, his beauty, his curling black hair, his beautiful eyes, and you start to see Krishna's sweetness, and you see Krishna is not alone. He's in an environment, and you start to see parts of the spiritual world. You start to see parts of Vrindavan. See the trees, the monkeys. Then you see Krishna is not alone. Then you see essence of Vrindavan. And then, when you get the perfection, you enter Krishna's pastimes. You see Krishna's pastimes in your heart. And these are the pastimes that are going on in Goloka Vrindavan, in the spiritual world. And this is the Aprakat Lila. And great devotees, they enter this Aprakat Lila. So when he arrived, he saw the mood of Goloka Vrindavan, not the Vrindavan feeling in separation. But then next morning, he went to visit Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda. And they were feeling great separation. That was the Prakat Lila, the Bhumi Vrindavan. And Mother Yasoda was always crying. She had her head down, feeling separation from Krishna. She didn't open her eyes even. Didn't see Akrura. Didn't see, Uda. Akrura, something else. And Nanda Maharaj, tears came from his eyes. And what was the reaction of Uddhav. You can read that in Vrindavan. You can read that in Krishna book and in the Bhagavatam. There's a verse in which Uddhav then says to Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda, he says, I'm very happy to see you in that condition. That's strange. You see, a masochist that's taking pleasure in the suffering of others because they are feeling separation. No, that is just our bodily conception of life. When we feel separation from someone in this world, it's suffering, that feeling of separation. But when we feel separation from Krishna, what happens? What happens when we feel separation from Krishna? Our love for Krishna increases. And love for Krishna is different from the love of this world. Krishna is Rasavai Saha. He is the ocean of all spiritual emotions and pleasures. He's an ocean of spiritual pleasure. And by these feelings of separation, our love for Krishna increases. And if we think of Krishna, we are with Krishna. And our love increases. So Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj were very fortunate because they exhibited the highest love for Krishna. And that is, of course, the highest feelings of separation from Krishna were exhibited by Srimati Radharani. So that is what Lord Chaitanya came as to teach us, and what also Lord Jagannatha teaches us. That we need to cultivate this sentiment, these emotions of feeling separation from Krishna. And that feeling of separation will purify us very quickly. And therefore, Lord Jagannath is in this feeling of separation of Krishna. Because we know that the deities were the original deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Shiva, and Subhadra were carved by Vishvakarma, who came as an old man. But then he had an agreement with King Indradyumna that he would carve until someone would disturb him, and then he would leave. And we know that because this log of wood which came out the sea in Jagannath Puri, nobody could move it, and then the Sabaras moved it, and then King Indradyumna invited so many sculptures, but they could not even make a scarf in the wood, and all the instruments broke. But then at least an old sculpture came, and that was Vishvakarma. But he said, I do the work, but nobody should disturb me. Otherwise, if someone comes to me, I will leave. But yeah, we know if the King Yamuna heard him working for many days, and then suddenly it stopped. And already several days, no sound. And finally, King Indradyumna decided to force himself inside. And then he saw this unfinished deities. He was thinking, what did I do? I promised not to disturb. Now the deities are unfinished. How are we going to install them? But then Narada Muni informed him, no, these deities are finished. I've seen this form of Krishna, he said, in Dwarka. In Dwarka, so once Mother Rohini, because all this Mother Rohini had lived in Vrindavan with Krishna, so he knew Krishna and his Vrindavan pastime. And all these queens of Krishna, these primary queens, they wanted to know about Krishna in Vrindavan, what he was doing, and his pastimes with the gopis especially. And Rohini said, yeah, okay, Rohini, I said, I will tell you, but this is private. Nobody should hear it. And they posted Subhadra at the door so that Krishna and Balaram, if they would come, that she would inform them. But Rohini was speaking about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, and Subhadra was at the door, Krishna's sister, and was hearing at the door, was hearing. And while she was hearing, she felt ecstatic, and her arms went into her body. And then Krishna and Balaram came, and she saw Subhadra. I said, what is going on here? And they also put their ears at the door and heard Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, and they became also ecstatic, and all their limbs went into their body, their eyes became very deep, very big. So Narada Muni said, I've seen that form there. So this is because this is Krishna. If Krishna hears about or experiences this feelings of these feelings of separation from his devotees, this great love, he becomes also ecstatic. So this is Lord Jagannatha makes us remember how much Krishna loves us. If we love him, then Krishna loves us without limit. That we have seen that if one reads, how much does Krishna love us? When we can learn from that from Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Brihad Bhagavatamrita is written by Sanatana Goswami. This is not an imaginary story, because Sanatana Goswami is liberated. When he was chanting, he was entering that this aprakat lila of Krishna. He saw the pastimes. So what he describes in Brihad Bhagavatamrita is very enlightening for us. And in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there are two stories. One story is that Narada Muni is searching for the most elevated devotee. And it goes from one devotee to another, and one devotee said, no, I'm most fallen. You should go to this devotee, it's much elevated. And so it's going from one to another, and finally it comes to the residence of Vrindavan and concludes this is the highest love. And the second story is the story of Gop Kumar. Gop Kumar is originally from Vrindavan. He's a cowherd boy, and he gets a guru, and the guru instructs him to chant a mantra, the Gopal mantra. That those who chant the Gayatri mantra, the Gopal mantra is the sixth mantra out of 7 of that is this mantra. And he was chanting this Gayatri mantra, and he went from one planet to a higher planet in this universe, higher planet. He went to the planet of Indra, became Indra, and then he went to the planet of Satya Loka, Brahma Loka. Then he went to he entered the Brahma Jyoti, that is the space between the material worlds and the spiritual worlds. And then he went even to Vaikuntha. And when he was in Vaikuntha, well, he was first at the gate of Vaikuntha. And there someone comes out with a chariot, a shining chariot with 4 arms, blue. And I was thinking, this is Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayan. And he was offering his respect to Lord Narayan. But the personality that came out of the gate, they have 4 arms, and he put 2 arms on their ears and said, no, I'm not Lord Narayan. So all the residents of Vrindavan have 4 arms like Lord Narayan, and Lord Narayan has also 4 arms. How can we know the difference? What's the difference? Who knows? Srivatsa and Kaustubhachu. These 2. And makes the difference. But he entered Vaikuntha, and Vaikuntha is in the mode of awe and reverence. Everyone knows Lord Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we offer all, we are worshipping him in great opulence, like we worship Lord Jagannatha, so many that, and they offer many prayers, but it's all official. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it's God. The Goloka Vrindavan is different. Everyone loves Krishna, but they don't care whether he's God or not. That's their love is most important. But Gop Kumar, he was in the mood of loving Krishna, 2-armed form, as a cowherd boy, because he was chanting this Gopal mantra. So all these residents of Vaikuntha, they start to offer prayers to Lord Narayan, and it's all beautiful and melodious, but Gopkumar sees Lord Narayan, and it reminds them of Krishna. And he started to call out, Gopal, Gopal! And he started to jump. And all the residents of Vrindavan, all the residents of Vaikuntha come around him and say, oh, cool down, we are not worshipping the Lord like that. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But then he was in Vaikuntha, and then he meets Narada Muni. And says, Narada Muni, that Narada Muni tells Gopkumar, yes, it's normal, you don't feel at home. Your home is Goloka Vrindavan. That it is Lord Chaitanya who has given us access to Goloka Vrindavan. This is beyond the material and the spiritual. And Gopkumar said, how can I go to Vrindavan? Well, Narada Muni said, to go to Vrindavan, you must go to Vrindavan, the earthly Vrindavan, Bhumi Vrindavan first. And there you think of Krishna in great separation, chant his holy names. So he went back from where he started, Bhumi Vrindavan. And he started with great feelings of separation, chanting this Gopal mantra. And suddenly he saw Krishna in the bushes of Vrindavan. And he started to run after Krishna, but Krishna disappeared. But he was running, and he came at the Yamuna. And he was so exhausted, he fell into the Yamuna. And a few moments later, he was in a spiritual viman that brought him to all the planets in the universe that he visited before. And it went through the Brahmajyoti, and then he passed millions and millions of Vaikuntha planets, silver effulgent. And then suddenly he arrived at the greatest planet, the biggest planet, Goloka Vrindavan. And when he arrived there, he felt, this is a flawless place. You feel the devotion in the air. But then he felt separation from Krishna. He wanted to see Krishna. So he saw some gopis. But these gopis did not see him. They were too absorbed in something. He tried to contact them and said, oh, but they didn't see him. What's the reason? It was afternoon in Goloka Vrindavan. In the morning, when Krishna goes to the forest, all the cowherd boys, they are very early there, waiting for Krishna. And after Krishna has taken breakfast, he comes out, and all his friends are waiting for him. And then Mother Yasoda comes out. And Mother Yasoda says to Krishna, you are going to the forest, but in the forest there are so many thorns and sharp stones. Why don't you wear shoes? Krishna said, I don't wear shoes unless all the cows are wearing shoes. How many cows does Nanda Maharaj have? 9 lakhs. Wow. How many shoes? Yes, multiplied by 4. So Mother Yasoda gave up. She went inside again, but then she came out and gave and gave to a cowherd boy behind Krishna a box with a sweet, and said, "You keep that for Krishna when he is hungry." She embraced Krishna, she went inside, she came out again, and then she said to Balaram, "You walk always in front of Krishna. So protect him." But at that time, all these gopis, they are in the bushes. But it is socially unacceptable for a girl to look directly to a boy. So they were in the bushes looking from the corner of their eyes to Krishna. And then Krishna was going to leave for the forest. And all the flowers and the fruity trees, they bow down, they offer their fruits, their flowers. And then the peacocks come and they perform a dance before Krishna. And after performing a dance, the chief of the peacocks bows down and takes one of his plumes and offers that to Krishna. That's why Krishna wears a peacock feather. And Krishna goes to the forest, and the gopis, they are following him. Until they cannot go further. But their mind is so fixed on Krishna, Krishna takes their mind away. It's called Manohar, one who steals the mind. So when Gopkumar arrived, he could not contact these gopis. Their minds was, Krishna had stolen their minds. But then, yes, some elderly gopi, Purnamasi, she's Yogamaya, she saw him and felt compassion and said, "Yes, you go to this way to the house of the palace of Nanda Maharaj." So he follows and comes at the palace of Nanda Maharaj, and before the house, he sees Mother Yasoda, Nanda Maharaj, and many elderly gopas. They are standing there like statues. They are not moving. He said, "What's going on here?" And he looks at their eyes, and their eyes are fixed on the horizon. And he looks at the horizon and says, suddenly he sees on the full horizon clouds of dust. And then he looks and he sees thousands of cows coming. Thousands of cows. And then he sees in front of the cows, cowherd boys. Then he looks and he sees in front of the cowherd boys Krishna. When he sees Krishna, he starts to run towards Krishna. And Krishna starts to run towards Gopkumar. And when they meet, Krishna embraces Gopkumar and says, "Svarup, I missed you so much. I love you so much. I miss you so much. Where have you been all this time?" And Krishna fell unconscious out of love on the ground. And then all these cowherd boys and the gopis, they come standing around Krishna. One of the gopis says, "Who is this new cowherd boy? Maybe he's a servant of Kamsa?" Of course, there are no demons in Golok. That's a difference between the earthly Vrindavan and Golok. Golok, there are no demons. It's only a rumor that maybe demons will come. But then Balaram comes and sees what happens, and he smiled and said, "Yeah." And he says, "We should do kirtan." Everyone chants the holy names. And everyone chants the holy names, and Krishna opens his eyes. So it means that Krishna loves us so much. If we were only conscious of a fraction of the love Krishna has for us, we would not be here in the material world anymore. So much he loves us. And that's what he wants, our love. If we are connected with this love with Krishna, then in these feelings of separation, is the same as being with Krishna. Because when you think of Krishna, Krishna is absolute. Krishna is really there. And that is what Lord Chaitanya and Lord Jagannatha is teaching us. That develop this love for Krishna in separation. That by chanting the holy names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Thank you very much. And any comments or questions? Yes.
Thank you so much, Madam, for an enlivening class. When you mentioned about the clouds in the spiritual sky or the spiritual world of Golok, the clouds which comes when the hoofs of the cows, or we heard that the servants of the gopis, they are cleaning the floors and every time. How do you understand that when the concept of clouds is, you can say, in the material world, moreover, the clouds, spiritual, everything is pure, nothing contaminated, or you can say that, nothing is impure there. How do we really get into that? There are clouds and which is covering the sky or the floor, and they are cleaning.
That the spiritual world is beyond the grasp of our intellect, material intellect. We cannot understand with our material intellect these things. It's not possible. Like the time factor. That so I think it was Shedam in the spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan said some things not so nice about Radharani. A little offensive. And Krishna was there. And Shedam started to fall towards the material world. Radharani said, bring him back. And he was immediately back. But in that fraction of a second, he had undergone millions and millions of births in the material world. So if we go back to the spiritual world, it's like we never left. But we cannot not understand these things. To understand these things, we have to go there. Like many times, this point is brought up. Why did we fall from the spiritual world? That what does Prabhupada say about that? Don't try to figure that out. He said, get out of here. Get back. Get out of the spirit of the material world. Get back to the spiritual world. When you come back there, you will understand that. So in Goloka Vrindavan, they are also eating, but everything is conscious. We cannot understand these things. It's beyond our material concept. It's inconceivable that. So certainly, our acharyas may have something to say about what you are asking. But I don't have these realizations. I cannot answer this question. It is very rare to meet someone who is beyond liberation. Beyond liberation. Beyond liberation means that one is not suffering anymore. And Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. It was my Guru Maharaj who took care of him, but it was very bad, but then end of August he got better. And he decided to come to America, to the United States. And he left for London. First flight to London. But in London, his body became very sick. And it was the whole day in bed. And one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, are you suffering? Prabhupada said, I don't feel anything. Although the doctor said, this man must now suffer like anything. He said, I don't feel anything. It's no identification with the body means no suffering. That's beyond suffering. And that was Srila Prabhupada's position. But we can know something about the spiritual world through the descriptions of the Bhagavatam, to the teachings. But it's very limited what we can know, even because we are, as spirit souls, we are minute, very small. So we can know something, but to understand that, because we want to understand with material logic, means in space there's a height, breadth, and so on, and that there's a beginning and an end of everything. There's influence of time. But Goloka Vrindavan is beyond time and space, beyond all these things. What can we understand? I've personally experienced that in my 35 years of practice, I got a few times that my chanting became ecstatic. And in that time, I had no sense of time. It was like the whole japa time was in second past. But yeah, it's only we get a little experience there but yeah, but still we have to absorb it in these pastimes. This Jiva Goswami says, why does Krishna perform his pastimes? To kill the demons? He doesn't have to come personally for that. No, his answer is simple. Krishna performs his pastimes so that the devotee have something to talk about. And when we talk and hear about Krishna, we become purified. That's the difference between the conditioned souls and the devotees. The conditioned souls, they are here to go to repeated birth and death. But for the devotees, the material world we are in transit. And to facilitate this transit, Krishna gives us his pastimes. And we absorb in these pastimes, and we develop these feelings of separation. And these feelings of separation is the shortcut. But Lord Chaitanya gave us these feelings of separation, but in the mood of Srimad Radharani. Before Lord Chaitanya's appearance, because that's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, the 4th verse, says, Anarpita Chiram. Yeah. Anyway, but in this verse, it is said, Lord Chaitanya came to give what was never given before. And that is especially this Madhurya Ras. this higher love, this more intense love of Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya came himself to show how to absorb in this deeper love. And by that love, by developing these feelings of separation, we can go to Goloka Vrindavan. But this is much more intense love than Vaikuntha. And even Bhakti Charamaj told us that because it is in nectar of devotion, how can we go back? How can we reach Goloka Vrindavan, the spiritual world? He said, first one must purify oneself, but when one is purified, then Krishna starts to reveal what kind, because we know we are a servant of Krishna, he starts to reveal what kind of servant that we are. And we become attracted. When we hear the Bhagavatam, we become attracted to a certain mood, to certain residents of Vrindavan. And then Rupa Goswami said, then one can, that's the time to cultivate Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga means that one studies and reads more about Ragatmika Bhakta, a resident of Vrindavan, that an eternal residence of Vrindavan. And healthy one develops the mood of that residence of Vrindavan. That by reading and absorbing oneself, and because when I read about this resident of Vrindavan and the love this resident of Vrindavan has for Krishna, and when by hearing about it, one starts to develop a similar love, and that. So that's the process, but that's very elevated. We cannot jump about that. But even if we don't come to that point, and we serve Lord Chaitanya in our reference, because who is the highest resident of Vrindavan with the most of love? Who is it? Radharani. And who is Lord Chaitanya? Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna together, is in the mood of Radharani. And then just by, this is what Bhakti Charamaj said, just by serving Lord Chaitanya and his mission in awe and reverence, one can enter into Goloka Vrindavan. And that's also the great gift Srila Prabhupada brought us. Because we can please Lord Chaitanya by pleasing Srila Prabhupada. Who is Srila Prabhupada? One of the followers of Lord Chaitanya was Lochandas Thakur. Lochandas Thakur has written a biography of Lord Chaitanya. There are 11 biographies. The last one is the one from is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj. But Lochandas Thakur writes that Lord Chaitanya said that in the future, if some will escape to foreign countries, I will send my Senapati Bhaktam, and he will get them, that he will spread love of God all over the world. That's what Lord Chaitanya said, in every town and village. Who has done that? It's Prabhupada. So the mercy of Lord Chaitanya or the mercy of Prabhupada is the same. That I was in 2018 with Bhakti Charamaj at the Bhaktivedanta Manor in London. And he was going to give initiation at some of my Bhakti Shastri students. And we were sitting in the temple room and he asked me to speak. That's very embarrassing. Your spiritual master asks you to speak, you're just near to him. So what do you not really do? You pray for his mercy, for his blessings. I prayed for the blessings of Bhakti Charamaj, my spiritual master. And what was his reply? He said, no. And he pointed to the deity of Prabhupada and said, this is where the blessings come from. And that means Prabhupada's position. If we cultivate all a relationship with Prabhupada, every devotee, we are reading his books, he's speaking to his commentaries, his purports. We can pray to Prabhupada. We do go puja every day for Prabhupada, very important. And we engage in his mission. If we are very sincere, we get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. It means the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And we can enter Goloka Vrindavan. That's the process Prabhupada gave us. It's very unique, very special. Yeah. Anyway, I try to say something. Does that help?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
The pastime that you mentioned, we see everything as a pastimes of Krishna.
Yes.
We see everything as a pastime of Krishna.
Yeah.
Leela Shakti. Anything that which we can see that is not a pastime of Krishna?
Yes, sure. That's you have Krishna's pastimes, and you have the pastimes of the conditioned souls. We wanted to come here, and Krishna asked, "Are you sure? You want to be the enjoyer? You want to experience to be God? You are sure?" And we said yes. And Krishna asked again, "Are you sure?" And we said yes. He said, "Okay." Krishna said, "But then, yeah, you have to forget me. So I bring you an illusion. And with your spiritual body, you cannot play that role. I give you a material body, and you try to play God. But every action will have a reaction. You will be responsible for your own deeds." So Krishna didn't want us to come here. But he created the material world because of our desire. So all this material world is our pastime, our conditioned pastime, because Krishna arranged for it.
It's separate from Krishna.
Yeah. So this is not Krishna's pastime, but it's Krishna's pastime to bring us back. And therefore he brings his pastimes from the spiritual world to this world. Of course, we know Yada Yada Idama Sheklani Bharata Bharata. Abhyutanamadas Adharmasya Tatatmam Chichamyam. Whenever and wherever there's a decline in religious principle, Krishna says, then I appear to kill the demons and to protect the devotees. So this is Krishna's mission. It's a mission to bring us back to the spiritual world. But originally, it's our pastime. The material world is being created because of our desires. And Krishna did not want it, but he reluctantly allowed, because we have our free will, and Krishna respects that very much. Because without free will, you cannot love. So but now we are on the way of trying to love Krishna again and give up that tendency in that way. But in that way, it's our pastime, this material world, but it's Krishna's pastime to bring us back. And how does it bring us back? He's from Golok. It's Paramdam. What do they do in Golok? Everyone chants the holy names. That's originally, this Maha Mantra is an import product for the spiritual world. Harinama Sankirtan. Collocera prima dana. Harinam Sankirtan. There's no Damdas Thakur. He said, this holy name comes from the spiritual world. It's a transcendental vibration. But who brought it from the spiritual world? Krishna himself. Because he appeared at the end of Dwapara Yuga. And Krishna said, you surrender. And and he says, don't give this knowledge to those who are not austere, not my devotees. He puts conditions. But he knew that in Kali Yuga that doesn't work. Nobody's going to surrender like that. So he came himself from Goloka as Lord Chaitanya to give us the holy name. That as Lord Chaitanya. And he gave us the holy name. And if we chant the holy name, which comes from Golok, is brought to us by the master of Golok, Krishna, Chaitanya. If we chant the holy name properly, in the proper attitude, it brings us back to Golok. And that is the greatest gift Krishna has given in this Kali Yuga. The other process of devotional service work also, but the chanting of the holy name is the most potent. So that is Krishna's love. He gives us the method in Kali Yuga to bring us back to the spiritual world. And that is his great pastime. The pastime of Lord Chaitanya is to spread his holy names. And these pastimes are still going on through Prabhupada. We are part of these pastimes here. So we are in Krishna's pastimes of spreading the holy name, and we should be part of this mission. We are part of this mission, we go back to the spiritual world. And that's a shortcut to Goloka Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. Yes?
My understanding was that, yes, I mean, when we say the pastimes or like the Leela Shakti, just the one portion of Krishna's all potency, but as we know that, yes, it's very difficult. We cannot perceive the Krishna's all potency at all, but all we can understand is just a portion of that pastimes that Krishna exhibits, that mercy showering to us, so that some way or other we connect to him.
Because ultimately, everything in this world is Krishna, because it comes from Krishna. The cause must be in the effect. It's in every atom, everyone's heart, and especially is present when we discuss about him. So he's present here. But how to perceive Krishna in this world? That yes. Mamsya vyabhichana bhaktiyo nasivate sakuna samatichitam vamabhuya kalpate. That we can transcend this material nature by developing love for Krishna and see how everything is connected with Krishna. Everything is connected with Krishna. That every atom, this wood has a certain color, a certain warmth, a certain temperature. It's because the supersoul is inside. The supersoul arranges for this structure, which has originally been grown in the form of a tree. He makes the tree grow. So by that, therefore the first cantos of the Bhagavatam describes the creation to understand this is Krishna's energy, his pastime of creation, and he's everywhere. I have much more to say about that. I hope this helps. Good. Thank you very much. Lord Jagannatha Baladev Subhadra ki, Ila Prabhupada ki. Very good.
You mentioned in the class that Krishna the moment he saw Gokumar coming back, he ran towards him and he told him that you have been gone for so long. Does it mean to say that Krishna forgot? For even for an infinitesimal time, did Krishna forget Gokumar?
No. He remembered that he didn't see him for some time. That and he felt separation. That yeah. Lord Jagannatha is feeling separation for the residents of Vrindavan, for all his devotees, and that is Krishna's love. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
And also heard that Gokumar came and Krishna told to Gokumar that every lifetime I was looking at you. And when you turn away from me, I was so disappointed. Because every lifetime I was looking at you when you are going to turn towards me.
Mhm.
That was
Very beautiful. Thank you. Good. So, what's next?
We will do Aarti.
Arti, okay.